Hey guys, welcome to another math lesson. We're going to start this lesson real quick with a quick little math joke. Why can you never touch a math teacher holding graph paper? Well, that's because they must be plotting something. Mwahaha. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and get started with today's lesson. It is Wednesday, April 8th. And what you are going to be studying today is working more with finding volume of composite shapes. So you can see I have two right here. And what we're going to be doing this time is finding volume of a shaded area and a non-shaded area. Again, I have the formulas written up there for you at the top, so make sure you are using these when you are completing your Google form. And then another quick reminder that you can do the notes on notebook paper, and one more reminder that the Google form is taken for an accuracy grade, so make sure you are taking your time to do that accurately as possible. If you, real quick, I did post this on Google Classroom, but if you ever want to redo an assignment for a better grade, I will give you half credit towards that, so not a problem. You just need to make sure you email me, because otherwise I won't know to go back and look and regrade. And then I always take late work, so that has not changed at all. All right, so what I'm going to do is jump to number one now. So for number one, I have two shapes, a cone and a cylinder. So for my cone, I'm going to go ahead and identify the radius, and the radius for my cone is 6. And then the height for my cone is the same height for the cylinder. So from the top to the bottom, or vice versa, bottom to top, it is going to be 15. All right, my next shape is my cylinder. And then for my cylinder, if I take a look at this one actually has the same radius as the cone, which is 6, and has the same height as the cone, which is 15. So that's pretty crazy how that works out. They are going to be two different problems though. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with finding the volume of the cylinder. So starting, and I'm going to label, so I got the cylinder first, so write that at the top. And volume equals pi r squared h, that's the formula, and then I'm going to go ahead and make my substitutions. So my radius is 6 squared times my height, which is 15. I'm going to go ahead and find the 6 squared, which is 36. So I'm going to have pi times 36 times 15. We multiply 36 and 15 together in our calculator, and that gives us 540 pi. And then my last step is I'm going to go ahead and calculate this and round this to the hundredth. So grabbing my calculator, 540 times pi, I get, here we go, 1,696 and 46 hundredths. Okay? And cubic inches, writing that in real quick. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump to my cone and find the volume of my cone. So for my cone, I have volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. So again, that's right there at the top. Then I'm going to make my substitution. So I have 1/3 times pi. My radius is 6, and it's 6 squared times my height, which is 15. 6 squared is 36 times 15. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply my coefficients together in my calculator. So it is 1/3 times 36 times 15, and that'll give me 180. So I have 180 pi. But then I'm going to multiply that by pi to get a rounded answer. And I get 565 and 49 hundredths cubic inches. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is find the volume of this shaded area. So the shaded area is the outside of the cone. So to do that, I subtract. So I'm going to go ahead and just label that I'm doing the shaded area now. And when I do my shaded area, it is 1,696 and 46 hundredths minus 565 and 49 hundredths. Okay, so just to subtract that real quick, and you can use your calculator if you want. I'm okay with that. So real quick, and I'm going to use my calculator just because I want to make sure I'm accurate. And I get 1,130 and 92 hundredths. So that's my answer in cubic inches. And I'm going to box that in. Oops, there we go. And that's it for this first problem, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and work on my second problem, finding the volume of the area of the non-shaded space. So this time it is non-shaded. And it's going to be similar where we are going to have to find the volume of the two shapes. So just make sure you can identify that. We have a rectangular prism and a cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my rectangular prism. So for my rectangular prism, my formula is volume equals length times width times height. So I can just pull this information from my picture. So the length is 10, the width is 12, and the height is 6. Then all I do is multiply that together. Oh, I have space on this side. We'll do it right over here. So 10 times 12 times 6, and we get 720 cubic inches. And then I'm going to go and work on my cylinder. So that is the inside shape. So for my cylinder, I want to identify the radius. And so the diameter is 2 inches, so that means the radius is 1 inch. And then the height, do you see how it runs along the center of the rectangular prism where this is the front and that's the back, and the height is the width of this rectangular prism. So it's going to be 12. All right, so now let's go ahead and use the formula where its volume is pi r squared times height. My radius is 1 squared, my height is 12. And when I multiply that together, well, I should have written it as 12 pi, so my bad. But at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just multiply 12 times pi, and that gives me, looks like it is 37 and 70 hundredths. And I'll go ahead and write that as cubic inches. And then the last thing we're going to do is find that volume of that non-shaded space. So I'm going to go ahead and label this, label my work. And so when I subtract, it's going to be 720 minus 37 and 70 hundredths. And so since I have 70 hundredths, I'm going to put some decimal points in there for place value. And then all I'm going to do is subtract. So 720 minus 37 and 70 hundredths. And it looks like my answer is going to be 682 and 30 hundredths cubic inches. All right, so that is it for composite shapes. Remember yesterday we added together, today we're subtracting to find just parts of it, the shaded parts or non-shaded parts. And then that is it for today. Make sure you, again, email me if you have any questions or and concerns. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Take care.